Keith and Nick, they say that this album is rubbish. And everyone says this album is crap. Everyone says, oh, this album's no good. I mean, you know, it's not very cohesive. And, you know, there's a lot of, you know, stuff that we weren't really focused on, you know. That's what they said, you know, Mick Jagger and Keith Rich. But I think they're completely wrong. They are so wrong. And I think this album is actually pretty good. I mean, you know, I've listened to this album and I'm thinking, wow, this is actually not that bad. You know, it's definitely a fun ride when you listen to this. I mean, this is not one of my favorites. So let's just put it that way. It's not my favorite album by them, but you know what I mean. I did a video a while back comparing these two, comparing the front cover of this and Sgt. Pepper. You know, I made that video, you know. And I compare the covers, you know. There was also another album cover that's very similar to their Satanic, and that is Of Cabbages and Kings, which I think came around the same time as their Satanic. I think this is very, very, very unique in their discography. I mean, this is like all over the place. There's so much things happening in this album, and it's absolutely mind-blowing. I mean, you know, anyone that... It's almost like you're watching, or well, listening to something that you never heard of before, and like you're hearing all these different instruments and all this weird, like completely like 180. I feel like this has a different vibe, a different theme than Sgt. Pepper, I think, and I've explained that in that video, you know, about the comparison of the two. Even the gatefold itself, I mean, it explains it all. This looks like what you're going to be listening to. Like, you know, it's got that future vibe, though it's got like the really weird psychedelia vibe, acid. You know, it says it all in that cover there. And by the way, this maze is, unfortunately, you can't finish the maze. Now in the back here, you got the 4 elements of, you know, fire, wind, water, and land, I believe. And it's very, 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 very unique, the cover itself. And, you know, it's got the Beatles, you know what I mean? Because we all know the Sherry Temple doll had, you know, Welcome the Rolling Stones on it. So I guess they're like, all right, I guess we can put John and who else is on here? George, you know. And then, of course, he flipped the album cover for, you know, which also came out the end of '67. John Wesley Harding. You know, you get Ringo. Oh, whatever. Wasn't '67? Wasn't that year something else, man? You know, you had bands like the Peanut Butter Conspiracy. The Peanut Butter Conspiracy is spreading. You know, this is absolutely, probably one of the most weirdest albums. You can definitely tell by the faces of these guys. I mean, they were definitely like, I mean, just, you know what? Originally, the album cover was supposed to have Mick Jagger completely nude on a cross. Imagine that. Imagine seeing that. Anyways, this, and believe it or not, this was the first album on each side, you know, the US, the UK, and everywhere else, of the same tracks. Everyone got the same tracks on the same album. And this album was not produced by Andrew Luke Oldham. He had it with the band, man, with all the drugs and all the silly nonsense, all the bullshit during that time. He was like, I'm out, man. Goodbye. You guys can produce this yourselves. And this was the first produced album by, you know, all 5 members of the band. This was recorded in all the majority of, I mean, all the tracks in Olympic Studios. And this was kind of like the first, you know, first of everything, you know, first time Rolling Stones produced an album, first time that the Rolling Stones produced an album in one studio. So this was recorded very early '67, right after Between the Buttons. Right after, you know, February the 9th and October the 23rd of '67. This was released December the 8th of 1967, and perfect timing because that was during the whole Christmas market, and they were originally going to have this album called Cosmic Christmas. which you can actually hear a little bit of that. You can hear a little bit of Cosmic. I think Bill's singing it at see what happens, the ending there. Alrighty. So the album title, they got it from from a British passport, and inside of it, it says Her Platonic Majesty request and requires. The front cover originally had the whatchamacallit, the late, I don't know how you pronounce that word, lenticular, there you go, image, where you kind of do this bit and their eyes kind of move back and forth, like that. So yeah, it had that, and Mick Jagger had his coat open, and it was kind of different. And believe it or not, wow, funny twist, the photographer of this album was the same guy who did Sgt. Pepper, Michael Cooper. Isn't that, the guy worked with everybody, and that's incredible that he worked with the Rolling Stones for that album cover. That really blows my mind. Apparently in 1998, all the songs all had different, before, the song titles we all know from the album, all had different song titles, apparently. Originally, 2000 Light Years Away had, the original title was Toffee Apple or something. Different names, and they, maybe I wasn't aware of this, but there was a bootleg CD box set of 8 CDs, and contains a lot of outtakes and stuff. So, hey, if any of you guys own that, hey, let me know. Let me know in the comments. Or maybe, you know what, maybe I need to look that up. I don't know. So, yeah, so a lot of instruments on here. So let's go ahead. Glockenspiel. I guess I'm whatever that thing is. We got maracas, and Brian, man, he plays everything on here. Are you kidding me? Mellotron, flute, gyro, saxophone, creepy sound effects, acoustic. He plays acoustic, electric on some tracks, vibraphone. He does play glockenspiel, Mick Jagger and Brian. How about that? And yeah, who else? I feel like somebody else also did glockenspiel on here. Maybe not. I don't know. Anyways, Jew's harp, brass, organ, electric dulcimer, recorder, sarod, shirara, and harp. Okay, and there is actually one track that Bill does not play on bass. It's Keith. He plays on the 9th track, 2000 Light Years. Yeah, I definitely hear that. Theremin, I almost forgot about to mention that. So no Ian Stewart here. We don't got good old Stu on here. We got Nicky Hopkins on here. First time here on a Rolling Stones album. Isn't that crazy? Plays pretty much all the piano bits, organ, harpsichord he plays, and the celesta. What the? I don't even know. I don't know. We also got Small Faces here. The lead vocalist, Steve Marriott, doing backing vocals on Bill's "In Another Land," and we got this guy named Eddie Kramer. Never heard of him, but he does clavs, and there's another guy that worked with everybody. So a list of people in there. But anyways, so let's go ahead and get started. We're already at 9 minutes here already. So crazy year, crazy time. And, at this time too, a little bit late summer, early fall, they came out with We Love You, and which, would have probably have fit pretty well on this album, and Dandelion. So, and there, of course, She's a Rainbow was a single, believe it or not. It went to number 25, was recorded May 17th and 21st of 67. And I have heard that this was actually one of the first songs actually recorded from this album. I could be wrong. Anyways, let's go ahead and talk about this album, all right? There's Satanic Majesty's Request. Here we go. Side 1, sing this all together. Let us sing this all together. Da, 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 da. Really, really nice. I really love that. Nice, lovely piano intro by Nicky Hopkins. Ooh, man, he's really good. Then we got electric guitar a little bit, flourishing around by Keith. You know, it's almost like a sing-along tune, you know? Da, 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 da. It almost has like a really melodic, you know, feel, with a variety of percussion. Total knockout with instruments on here done by Brian. And a very bright, you can hear a little, very bright saxophone by Brian. And it's not like, you know, it's just kind of settled. It's very settled. You know, it's a nice intro, but you know, it's nothing really that memorable, but you know, it's nice, you know. But man, but I love it, man, because some of these tracks lead into like another song, and it kind of fits in pretty well. Some moments, but I love this. After that, you get Citadel. Oh my goodness, talking about Candy and Taffy, which were the you know, they were from the factory of you know, they worked in the factory for what's his nuts, Andy Warhol, the Warhol factory, where he talks about yeah, Candy and Taffy, come with me to the Citadel. Like, really cool. It's got a really blistering boom, boom, bam, boom, boom, bam. Almost has a little bit of a Who, Jimi Hendrix feel. By Keith. Oh, that's a really memorable intro, definitely for sure. And Charlie's like really cool. Charlie's drumming is absolutely great. And yeah, Candy Darling is her name. So it's almost like this escape, you know what I mean? It's almost like this you know, I wouldn't say refuge, but you know, this escapism, like this sort of like, you know, come with me and, you know, let's make peace with each other here. Let's make everything, you know, let's, you know, the hell with reality, you know, whatever. Then we get In Another Land. This one is, oh my goodness, this one has that atmosphere that really it has almost like a Pink Floyd, like a you know, whatchamacallit, like the Piper, has that Piper feel, with very creepy tremolo vocals by Bill. Bill's vocals here, it's like, whoa, it's very haunting at times. Great Mellotron intro by Brian. It's almost, ooh, creepy, vibey. Nice, you know, bleeds into that harpsichord by Nicky. You know, it's got that spooky atmosphere. It's like, ooh, man. Some of the lyrics are kind of, you know, they're okay. I mean, they're not bad. This was only written by Bill Wyman. I think the only song written by him, I believe. You know, and then it's got a little bit of acoustic fills by Keith. And then I love the end where, like, you know, Bill, you know, the Stones are doing something, like they're kind of preparing for some sort of, you know, session or whatever, and then Bill's snoring. I thought that was funny. I thought that's great. That's like him being like, man, screw you guys. You know, I'm gonna do this song on my own. And you know, he's got, you know, he plays piano in here too, but you know, it's just like, man, screw it. You know, had enough with you guys, you know. But anyways, then we got 2000, man. This sounds like something off of Beggars, man. Beggar Banquet. You know, it's a folky acoustic, you know, done by Keith. And let me see, it goes right into, yeah, then it has another part, like it almost has like a different, you know, then it has a different side, you know, where it kind of, you know, leads into really really cool psyche lyrics, you know. I kind of like this premise, you know. It talks about, you know, talking about that computer, you know, that, you know, feels like it's you know what I mean? Like brainwashing us, if you will. Man, those computers. um, it's really interesting. It's almost like, because it has a little bit of sci-fi theming here, you know, it's about like this guy that, you know, that's from this other world or whatever, like this other, you know, period of time coming into, you know, our, you know, well, for back then, but, you know, almost like a Twilight Zone vibe to it a little bit. Yeah, and then it has, you know, some kind of, you know, then it's got that classic Keith electric playing. Very nice swaying organ. You hear a little bit in there by Nikki. Goes right back to the first verse, you know, with that slow acoustic. And this is another song that kind of leads into another one here with, you know, See What Happens. So yeah, very memorable song, I believe. 2000 Man. Definitely sounds a little bit for what's to come. Then we get to Sing This All Together, See What Happens. What did I write on here? Sorry, folks. Well, I didn't write too much on here. It's basically just a lot of free jamming, a lot of kind of more instruments, kind of more of that, you know, a little bit more of that psychedelia acid feel. You know, and it does go back to the da 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 da, like it goes right back into that. I mean, it's kind of, you know, you would think that they would just put maybe another really good one in there. Man, come on, maybe Dandelion, maybe, I don't know, whatever. I mean, it's filler, you know. It kind of stops and it goes right into like this kind of weird, you know, it gets into this weird vibe or whatever. And you can hear maybe at the end, because it's like almost like 8 minutes and 33 seconds or whatever it is, you hear a little bit of Cosmic Christmas. You can kind of almost hear, we wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I don't know. I was kind of, you know, maybe, I don't know, maybe you listen to that song again, but I don't know. Alrighty, so we get into side 2. Side 2 is pretty good too. Side 2, pretty good too. Hey. So we get a beautiful song by probably one of the most memorable songs off of this album, and I'm pretty sure everyone knows this. She's a Rainbow. Oh man, the strings arranged by John Paul Jones. Hey, how about that? Very classic song. I mean, it's got that beautiful piano done by Nikki. Then we got some, let me see here. Who plays on She's a Rainbow? Electric is done by Brian. I kind of like that. You know, it's got the strings. It's got like the really weird, like, you know, I don't know what instrument that is, but you know what I mean. We got tambourine. You know, definitely hear that bright tambourine by, very joyous chorus, very bright, like, you know. Oh, everywhere. Oh, she's a rainbow. She comes in colors everywhere. She combs her hair. She comes in colors. Ooh la 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 la. Ooh la 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 la. Really cool. You know, I wish this would have been a bigger hit. You know, it only went to number 25. I mean, that's kind of. And the B-side was 2,000 Light Years from Home. So you get this really bright song, and then the flip side, you get the creepy, you know, 2,000 Light Years. But this is great, man. I just really love it. And before, like, the song goes, right when you hear that bright piano by Nikki, it almost has, like, a radio feel. You know, you got, like, some conversations going on, which, I wish they would have just whatever. Because I think the 45 single just goes right into the, you know, the intro, the piano. Great song. Then we get The Lantern. Raise the lantern high. I like it, you know, I like Nick's vocal approach there. You know, it's got that bong, bong, the church bells. Oh, man, that's great. Leading into really, you know, sporadic sound effects. Great acoustic, too, as well. And I think it was Keith or Brian, one of those two. They get very nice piano done by Nikki once again. He's definitely great on here. We get tremolo as well, a little bit of tremolo by Keith Electric here. This is a really, once again, a very atmospheric, like you're almost like ascending, or kind of going down into this like basement, and and you got like this lantern, like I could feel like, I feel like someone, like someone wearing a black coat cloak or something, going into like some graveyard or some basement and holding this lantern, like, it's, oh man, getting spooked about that. Really. There's another song that leads into another song called Gumper. It's all right. We get the electric dulcimer done by Brian, definitely here prominent here. Charlie plays this middle, Indian drums here. They're called it's called a tabla. It's almost like an Indian, drum, and the mixed vocals are very carefree, and he's kind of, I don't know what the lyrics are about, but you know what I mean. I was like listening, I'm like, all right, whatever. Then you get some very, then it goes into like this weird, like, and it gets into that Middle Eastern vibe, with all the crazy percussion, like the really crazy percussions. I'm like, oh, all right, let's get on with it here. It's like 5 minutes long, so it's like, you would think, oh, okay. I also wrote on here, sounds very much like Within Without You, definitely for sure. We get flute by Brian, we get recorder by him as well. And yeah, I mean, it's all right. It's not something, whatever. So it bleeds right into 2000 light years. Oh man. Spooky piano, like that plucking piano done by Nikki, and that spooky, really like oh man, like really it startles you a little bit with that mellotron. And there's a footage of them in December probably of '67 where they're wearing the costumes for the front cover on Top of the Pops. Oh man, it's so cool. I love it. Like Mick's got that, magician cap, and oh my goodness. It's so like, whoa, it's almost very very acidy. It's got like that, oh man, like, it almost has like another Twilight Zone feel, talking about, oh man, you're 100 light years, you're 200, then you're 2000, like, you know what I mean? It's like you're stretching your way far away from wherever you're going. Like, it just has like that, oh man, like, it's like going into this other dimension. It's so cool. I really love this. This is another like standout song that I love, man. It's so great. Apparently this only charted in Germany. This was recorded around September of '67, and it went to number 5. Hey, at least it did. Hey, what can I say, man? Kudos to Germany for, having this be a big hit. Number 5. Are you kidding me? All right, great song. I love this song. Then we get, so here we go. Why would they even add this song on here? I don't know. I mean, I wish they would have, perhaps they would have maybe extended 2000 light years. I mean, it kind of does a little bit, but you would think that they would just end it, end the album there. But no, they had to have this stupid, whatchamacallit, just so, I don't know, it's very silly. On With the Show, it's called. Sounds very much like that hit Winchester Cathedral, done by the New Vaudeville Band. Once again, it's very filler. It's got percussion, it's got electric by Keith. And then towards the end, you get a lot of that gibberish, kind of that really filler gibberish that definitely rounds the album. You definitely hear that a lot in between songs and whatever intros of songs. Kind of like with "She's a Rainbow." And Mick's got that, like he's you know, he's almost like a circus kind of leader or whatever. I don't know. It's, you know, it feels like you're at maybe like a circus or something or whatever, but it's not very good. I think it's very pointless to have it on here. So well, anyways, all right, keep talking on and on and on. So they're Satanic. I have mixed feelings about this. You know what I mean? I mean, I love Citadel. I love In Another Land, 2000 Man. She's a Rainbow, The Lantern, 2000 Light Years Away, or 2000 Light Years from Home. And then the other stuff is just kind of like why do they could have made these other songs, or you know, they could have made it a little bit better, you know what I mean? I don't know, whatever. Well, they had enough with this psychedelia, and they definitely stripped back from all that. Get into that classic period, man. They had one last psychedelia song, and that was Child of the Moon, or whatever that was, Child of the Moon. That was the B-side of their classic, and right, the A-side was their way back to, you know, basically doing what they were doing, you know, during their earlier years, Jumping Jack Flash. And man, Beggar's Banquet, 1968, man, what a weird, well, not weird, sorry, 67 was weird, but 68, man, what a, you know, travesty of a year. But really leads into some great songs by them. And man, 67, man, they ended it off with a really bizarre album, but you know, whatever. I think I talked enough, right? 26 minutes. All right, folks. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.